about to start. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you for spending a little time with us today. We're going to be talking about dementia. My name is Dr. David Ajibade, and I guess you can guess that I'm not from this part of the world, right?
Yeah, we know.
How do you know?
With that name.
Really? Well, this is the U.S. You got all kinds of names in this country. Well, so anybody want to guess where I'm from?
Ghana and even Nigeria.
Oh, the country with the most number of people that look like us. That's right. No, Nigeria. Nigeria has the most number of people the most number of black people on the planet. Now, so let me ask you this: which country has the most number of Muslims on the planet? No, that's a lot of people say Saudi Arabia.
You have a sister here.
I can tell from your accent. Yes. So, which part of Nigeria are you from?
I'm a Lagosian.
Where?
I'm a Lagosian.
Lagosian. I'm from Ekiti.
From where?
Ekiti.
Where?
Ekiti, yes. Which is not too far from Lagos. Yeah? Alright, so you guys didn't get that one, so that's one strike. Which country has the most number of Chinese people who look like Chinese people?
In China.
Yeah, there you go.
China to see them.
Alright, so that's one for two. Indonesia actually has the most number of Muslim people on the planet. Believe it or not, not Saudi Arabia. Indonesia is like it's near Australia, Southern Pacific, on the Australia side.
They have good food there.
Do they really? Okay, I know a lot of people go there for vacation, so it seems like a lot of fun. Okay, so we're going to start. Does everybody have a handout? Okay. All right, so we're going to talk about not just dementia now, we're going to talk about memory loss, we're going to talk about how to keep your brain healthy and strong. Say it with me. Healthy and strong. Okay. So I know many of you here probably have people, some of you maybe, who have been affected by Alzheimer's dementia. It's a very fast growing problem around the world. It's not just an American problem. We're seeing numbers rise in Nigeria and other third world countries as well. And it's unfortunately, the statistics say it's going to cripple different countries' bank accounts if it's left to rise the way it is. So it's really, really important, not just for the government, not just for healthcare professionals, but it's important for lay people who are not healthcare professionals to understand what it takes to keep your brain healthy and strong. Let's say it again. Healthy and strong. All right? So we're going to be pointing out certain things that you hopefully should be able to become aware of. And let me start with another question. What are the first signs of dementia that you know of? When things are beginning to go south, what does the person first indicate? Yes, ma'am?
They repeat everything.
They repeat everything. Yes.
When they start renaming things, they give it a new name.
Right. Give it a new name. Sure. Sometimes they try to, something they can't remember, so they try to wing things.
Right. Yes.
Anybody else?
Forgetfulness.
Yeah,
Forgetfulness. Yeah, asking questions.
Forgetting.
Maybe losing their way sometimes.
Yes, getting lost. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Especially in familiar areas. Maybe their moods change.
Yes.
They become very irritable.
Yes.
Okay, that's a sign you want to look out for. When a normal, mild, and I have patients. I practice in Nigeria, but I have people who the main thing their spouse recognized, or the first thing she noticed was that this mild-mannered man, very cool, calm, and collected, was suddenly flying into a rage for the smallest thing.
Yeah.
And then that used to get her worried, and eventually they had to have him checked out and found out that he indeed had dementia. So dementia doesn't just start like an infection. It starts many, many years. Some people say decades, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, over a period of time. So it's not what we used to think, it's just something that happens to anybody. There's usually a pattern. There's usually something that happens over a period of time. And what we're trying to do is we're going to try and point out some of these things, but also point out what you need to do to keep your brain what?
Healthy and strong.
Healthy and strong. Boom, you forgot listening, great. I'm just gonna see if I can get this. Okay. So everybody whip your flyers out. Everybody has this? Okay, we do. All right. So we're going to be going with the flyers out. We're going to be looking at the slides as well. Okay, so I'm just gonna do this. There are 7 things. There are 7 things that we specifically want to point out to. And please, this is really engaging time, so if you have any questions, please feel free to point them out. I'm just going to go through some of this. These are really lovely pictures, don't you think? Okay, let's talk about the first thing. Quality of sleep. How many hours of sleep should we have a night?
10.
Ooh.
7, 8. I say 8.
Somebody's living the life. 10 hours.
8.
Yes, so right now science says 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. But it's not just about the quality of sleep. In recent years now, or scientists are beginning to tell us just how important sleep is. Sleep is not just time for rest. Sleep is time your brain takes the time to fix problems, to repair damage, to detoxify. Now remember, the brain is the most active organ in your body. Almost a quarter of the energy and the blood and the oxygen that your entire body needs is needed by the brain. A quarter. And your brain is like 2 or 3% is the weight of your entire body. But it takes up to 20-25%. So it uses a lot of energy. And when you use a lot of energy, it also produces a lot of what? Waste. A lot of bad chemicals. If you think about it, when someone is running, he's sweating, he's producing a lot of waste products in addition to producing energy. The brain is like that as well. So it's at night that the repair process happens. Now what we now know is that if the person is not sleeping for at least 7 to 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep, your brain may not have the opportunity to rest and to repair and to regenerate like it should. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So if you are not, let me point out a few points. You should be sleeping in a completely dark room. No TV, no radio on, no lights flashing. The cell phone should be off, far away from your head. It shouldn't be under your pillow. Okay? All these things mess up with your brain. And they mess with your brain's ability to rest and to recover. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, for real, sister, ma'am.
Is it called the blue light? What is it called?
You have to have your TV on to go to sleep?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, it's not too late. You look young. You can handle it. You can change your habits. You can change your habits. You got it. These are things that we tend to overlook over a period of time. And these are the kind of things that are killing us slowly. If you can't keep your room dark, get a sleep mask. Those things they give us on planes, right? Those sleep masks. I gave one out last time. It's super cheap on Amazon. Get your kids or your grandkids to order them for you. But that keeps you dark. You need the darkness in order to sleep well. All right? Make sense? If you're waking up, I know men, some of my patients, they wake up at night, they have to go to the bathroom because of the prostate issues and all that. And there are things to address that. You just don't want to take them for granted. Don't just say that's just part of growing old, well, I have to wake up at night all the time. You want to fight, you want to ensure that your sleep quality is as best as it can be. They are now drawing a straight line between sleep problems and eventual dementia. Okay? And by the way, shift workers, we now know that shift workers have almost the highest, very high rates, not just of dementia, but also of strokes, of cancers, of diabetes, because of the reasons I just gave you. The reason I just gave you is that the brain has to repair itself at night. You've got to give your brain the opportunity to repair itself, which means also it's best you don't eat too close to bedtime. Because if you eat close to bedtime, the energy and the resources that your brain needs is being shunted to where? Somewhere else, the digestive system. And it's not going to give your brain the chance to do its work. So you want to give your brain every chance to do its work. Make sense? All right, so you have the sheet, so you want to write some of the things that you think you're failing at, and say what you're going to do to address it. Turn over a new leaf. There's always the opportunity to improve. Okay, one change I would like to make in 3 months, one tip to help me be successful. I think that's straightforward enough. All right, and here's what the science says: sleep impacts overall health. Inadequate sleep can cause problems with memory and thinking. We just said that, right? These are things.
Yes.
I remember in medical school too. I mean, my classmates who were really bothered, they would study all night long and then they go take the exam. For some reason, I just couldn't do that. I would sleep during the night, and it so happened that the people who were really stressed out and trying to dot every I and cross every T, some of them actually failed their exams, and we were shocked. But learning this now helps us understand why that is so. It's because their brains were not given the opportunity to consolidate those memories and to make those memories permanent. They would read the book, but they would not go to bed, or they would not go to have enough sleep. And at night, the brains would not have the opportunity to form and maintain those memories. All right. What kind of environment helps me sleep? What changes might help me create a more peaceful sleep setting? Remember, no noise, lights out, total, no lamp lights, nothing, zero.
Right.
All right. Temperature is also important too. You want it to be about 65 to 68 degrees centigrade.
Yes, yes, yes,
It's
yes.
kind of cold, I know. It is kind of cold.
Me
Yeah.
too. Comfortable. Wrap up.
Alright. And if you're having a little bit of a spat with your spouse, it's probably a good idea. It's probably a good idea to kiss and make up before you go to bed. Okay. All right, smoke free. We all know smoking cigarettes is bad, right?
Yeah.
So, I know for some people it's hard to kick their habits. Just want to say a few things about it, and then hopefully you'll be able to make some changes. You do want to stop smoking. Smoking is not just about the smoke and about cancer, but one of the things that smoking does, whether it's a cigarette, whether it's marijuana, whether it's, by the way, marijuana too affects your brain, believe it or not, affects your memory centers specifically. Smoking, the main thing smoking does is that it constricts, it narrows the blood vessels that supply the brain. Okay? Not just the blood vessels going to the brain, but the blood vessels within the brain.
Yeah.
And so it narrows them down. And so what happens if you don't get enough blood? It means you don't get enough oxygen. It means you don't get enough nutrients. It means that your brain cells will start shriveling up and dying. And as we grow older, it's harder and harder to replace those brain cells. So you just don't want to mess with smoking. However, for those who have issues or are concerned about their lung health and all those things, we also recommend that things like vitamin C. We know, for instance, that every cigarette you smoke deprives your body of vitamin C. Vitamin C is it deprives your body, of about 75 milligrams of vitamin C. The recommended amount is about 90 milligrams. So think about it, per day. You're so expected to have 90 milligrams of vitamin C per day. Many of us don't even get that much. But if you take one cigarette, you're almost wiping out that daily requirement. So you want to also, and if you have people who are getting, it's hard to shake the habit, there are resources online resources in the association. You can go to the association. By the way, you have the websites and the phone numbers on every page, and you can look at there. So they're amazing. I gotta say, they're amazing resources that you can take advantage of. But I do want to say vitamin C, especially if you're dealing with smoke problems and all that. You want to take extra vitamin C, and it's usually in the powder form that I recommend. And you can get it on Amazon. It's pure vitamin C. You can get it maybe a little bit every day. Ideally, you don't want to take it all as a tablet, because if you take it as a tablet, your body just takes a little bit out, and then just takes a little bit in, and then pees the rest out. So it doesn't do much good. But if you take it over a period of time, that's what I do. I put it in a small, in a bottle, and I just sip it for a longer period of time. That way it works much better for you. Okay? All right. Look for smoking cessation. You gotta fight to get off smoking. That's probably one of the of all of the things. This smoking is one of the top 3 things that will help improve your health in every way possible. Stopping smoking will help improve your health. Okay. Let's talk about mental health. I know this is becoming a big buzzword. I know in the African American community, it's probably something that we have had to deal with a great deal. Now, I didn't grow up here. I don't have the same lived experience. I don't have the same history as you all do, living and growing up here. So I won't pretend to say I understand. Okay, for the most part, I'm listening. We know that the issues, the problems in the past, the things like racial disparities, racial injustice, even in the hospitals, lack of access, racial disparities when it comes to access and to treatment have all been a big problem over the years. So it is for many people, it is still a problem. While you cannot change the past, and you can't change the effect it has had on you, you can change the effect that it has on your body. What we know is that stress, anger, anxiety, resentment, the problems that have happened to us over the past, they produce chemicals in our bodies that eventually damage our brains over a period of time. And so it's very important that if you're dealing with depression, dealing with anxiety, it's very important that you seek professional help. Don't run away from the doctors. They're here to help. And insist on being treated for your health conditions. It's a problem in the community. And I gotta say, it's not just a Black African American problem. It's a problem in Africa as well. My friends who are psychiatrists who work in multinational companies in Nigeria, they say it's only the expatriates, those foreigners who come to them because they're employed by these companies. It's only the foreigners who come to them for treatment. That the Nigerians, the indigents, Nigerians who have mental health issues would never go there. I'm a military veteran myself, and they will not, because they don't want it on their record. In fact, they just don't want to be seen or to be consulted with a mental health professional. So that's an issue that I guess it's part of it's universal, especially in the black community. But I want to say this: the sooner you get treated, the sooner your mental health problems are addressed, the better. Because depression, especially, is one of those things that eventually can lead to dementia. Your brain can withstand only so much stress, only so much, and over time it will break down and shut up and begin to shut down. So you want to support it as much as you possibly can. There are also nutrients too that can help in improving a balanced diet, a good healthy diet. I'm going to point to specific nutrients too that can specifically help when it comes to brain and mental health. But I just wanted to mention that at this point, you do not want to leave it unattended. Does that make sense? Yeah. All right, great. All right, what's next? Please, if you have any questions, don't be shy, all right?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You said vitamin C. Well, you know, when we have a lot of fruit like oranges, that's vitamin C. But you're saying that the best way to do it is to get powdered vitamin C. Right?
Yes.
And
The pure, unadulterated, unsweetened vitamin C. The part of the problem with trying just using fruits is that fruits they have sugar in them too, and we as black people, African Americans, don't handle sugar well.
right.
Genetically, biologically, we don't handle sugar well. So
Okay.
so you want to really watch the amount of sugar you take, and it's not just the sweet kinds. There's a lot of sugar in several different things, as you know. Like what? Bread too. bread, fries, and all those things. So you want to really watch your sugar take. Yes, sir.
Yeah, if your body clock wakes you up every night at the same time, what do you suggest? What should we do about that?
Are you talking about yourself or are you asking for a friend? You get to share some more. What time you wake up and
Like 2 o'clock in the morning.
every morning?
Every morning.
What time do you go to bed?
8, 9, 10, 11.
It doesn't matter what time you go to bed. You always wake up.
Always.
Wow.
Body clock.
Body clock. And when you wake up, are you up the rest of the night?
No. After a couple of hours, back to sleep again.
A couple of hours, so you go to bed like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock?
I don't get up. When I wake up, I don't get up.
Okay.
But I'm awake.
For like 4 hours, 5 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. Every night. How long has this been going on?
Well, a long time because I was over the road truck driver and I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning, every morning.
You were a truck driver? Okay. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. I mean, there are some natural sleep aids. Have you tried those?
I'm afraid that I might get hooked
Yeah.
on some kind of sleep remedies.
So do you feel tired during the day?
No,
Okay.
no.
Some people it's fine. It doesn't bother them that much. I tend to call those people who are born with genes from a planet called Krypton. Some people doesn't bother them much. I think I read somewhere that Donald Trump really sleeps 4 hours a day, and somehow he has all. Is there any way we can silence our phones so that we don't disturb other people? Or turn the phone off? Because people are going to get distracted and they will probably not be able to pay attention. Yes, ma'am.
I'm about the same, him only. I'm up. Once I wake up, I'm up.
Oof, you can't go back to bed again. Okay.
I'll wake up and it don't matter, just like how whatever time I go to sleep, my eyes open at 2 o'clock. But I'm up the rest of the day. It's like right now, I've been woke since about 2 o'clock this morning.
Do you
but
feel-
I'm not tired.
You're not tired, you don't feel drowsy, you don't feel fatigued or anything. Well, how much sleep did you have?
I don't know. I'll go to bed. I'll lay down when I'm tired, but I don't go to sleep right away.
Yeah.
I might fall asleep between 8:30, maybe 9 o'clock, but I can fall asleep at 12 o'clock, but I'm still wake up at 2.
Wow. And you would feel alert and awake and all that? Some people's body clocks are a little different. Like, I would say you've got this. I mean, if you can't sleep again, try and catch up, make up for that time at night. I'm doing the daytime.
I mean, my doctors and all know about it, and they do give me that trazodone,
Okay.
but I don't like taking it. Because now when I do take it, that makes me feel tired when I get up. But if I don't take it, I'm fine.
Okay, there's one more, there are a couple other things too that I will talk about that may help. And if I don't, please remind me before the thing is over, okay? then we can move on to the next ones. So thank you for those questions, contributions, very insightful. We'll try as much as possible to address them. I promise you, we will address them. Okay. All right. Where are we now? What else? Mental health. Any questions on mental health? Any questions on mental health? There's actually a lady in Chicago. Her name is Lisa Bonds. She's a professor at Rush University. She's African American herself, and she lost her mom to dementia. So her passion is really to understand why Black people have twice the risk factor, the risk of dementia by microscopes. Wonderful meeting you. Yeah, so she's studying to see why Black people have twice the risk of dementia as white people. You know that, right? Twice as much. It's very bad in the African American community. She's collecting brains, and one of the things she's pointing out, because she's a psychology professor, she is now looking to see what it is about the brains of these people, about our brains that's making us more prone, and the insights that she's coming up with are very, very, very interesting. So we'll probably interview her and get some of her information available on the website as well. All right, one change. Okay, let's get to this very, very, very important point. We are on get moving. Everybody say get moving.
Get moving.
Get moving.
Yeah.
That's probably the most important thing I'm going to tell you today. We're going to talk about today. If there's one thing, yes ma'am.
Yeah, my doctor said motion is the lotion.
Motion is a lotion.
Yes.
I love it.
He said it means as long as your body is moving, your blood is circulating.
Yes.
So that's why he said motion is a lotion. So that's why I go all the time.
Where do you go all the time?
Everywhere.
Move
Everywhere.
All over the place.
All over the place. Fantastic. You have any knee issues? Any problems, limitations moving?
Here lately, I started having a few pains on my leg.
Okay.
It just goes for a little while. The doctor said that's just arthritis for my age.
Yeah, after a while,
But
it
it
hits the
doesn't
better
stay.
ones.
It's just a sudden thing there to go, and it might be down at the bottom, then it might move to the top. But all of a sudden, it's gone because the motion is the lotion.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. Do you come for the exercise, whatever you guys do here? Before?
No, sometimes I had done, but I my exercise is just moving.
Okay, well, good. I want to encourage everybody to do that. Now, here's one thing I want to point out. Thank you. I'm going to remember that motion is a lotion.
Excuse me.
Yes.
What I want to say is that my grandmother used to say, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yes.
Yes, right.
Absolutely.
If you don't use it, you lose it. Whatever you don't use, you lose it.
And that applies to the brain as well.
Yes.
Right.
Now, the most important time, I really, really want to impress this upon you, because most people miss it. Remember I said blood sugar is a problem with the African American community? The problem starts with when you eat something, when you eat a meal. You know, blood sugar spikes when you eat a meal, it goes up high. And if you don't, so the best way to bring that blood sugar down is not going to sit down, even sit down and listen to a seminar, and a nice seminar like this. It's not going to play bingo, it's not going to watch TV. The best thing to do, the very best thing to do, is to get up and move. Get out into the sun. Get out into the sun and soak up some nice sun rays. What does the sun do for you?
Vitamin C.
Keeps brain,
Vitamin C.
makes it strong,
Vitamin
Yes.
and
What?
healthy.
Vitamin
Healthy
D.
and strong.
You said what? Oh.
Vitamin D.
Vitamin D. The sun helps us make vitamin D, which helps our brains. Probably one of the most important nutrients for our brains is vitamin D.
I guess that's why the doctor said you should have vitamin D every day.
You should
In a
have.
pill.
Yes. The problem is, especially during the winter, even if you go outside, you're not going to make much vitamin D. So you need to supplement. Especially now you're in the US, you have access to testings. I think everybody here should go test their vitamin D levels. There's a basic minimum. What we found out is that most African Americans have very, very low vitamin Ds. Very, very low. Some are in the toilet, quite frankly. When I say that, I say, ma'am?
Yeah, they got me taking 55,000 units right now.
Really?
I take them, yeah, one pill every week.
Every week.
Yeah,
One
you
pill.
only can take one, take once a week.
Now, go back and check to make sure it's vitamin D3. Because
It
D3, not D2.
It's 3.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
that's it.
Sometimes doctors prescribe vitamin D2, and that's not as effective, and it tends to accumulate in the body to toxic levels. You want the D3 is the natural based one, and that's the one you need.
Yeah.
It's better if you take it every day. So take a lesser amount. Like my patients, I recommend 5 to 10,000. Certainly 10,000 during the winter, because
How much?
10,000.
Well, I just started taking, this is my third pill.
Okay.
There's only one pill.
One pill per week. Yeah. Studies show, you can go back and ask him, studies show that it's better you take it every single day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Speaking
it's
of
probably gonna put me on one every day, but by it being so low right now, you got me taking it.
what, do you mind sharing what your levels were when you first started? Did they tell you?
It was 2.
What?
2.
What should your levels be?
Did you say 2?
That's what she
It's
said.
low. Yeah, I know.
Oh my goodness.
Go
Oh,
back.
Nadia's still standing.
Yeah.
The normal level, somebody asked what the levels should be. Normal levels is about 30 to 100.
Yeah, he told me.
He told you. Now, especially brain doctors are looking at it and they're saying the minimum should be 100.
Mm.
So I checked mine. I mean, I take like 10. Again, this is me. I don't take anything less than 10,000 a day.
I gotta go back to him in 3 months.
Yeah. So yeah, well, ask him about it to give you a daily dose. That's a much better, more effective way to do it. I checked mine. Mine was 83, and I'm still like, okay, I got work to do. I got closer to 100. The older we are, the less we're able to make vitamin D. But it's not just about vitamin D that I'm asking you to go out in the sun. There are other things that the body makes only when it's in contact with the sun. Only when it's in contact with the sun. So please, okay, now I know today, these few days, smoke, problems in the air, stay out of this, stay away. But when all that is cleared, make it a point. Eat your meal, get out and walk a little bit. Very, very important. Yes, sir.
What's the daily milligram for vitamin D?
He said
The
10,000.
standard that is recommended, but is, I think for white people, is 600 to 800.
Really?
But now they're looking at black people and they're like, that is way too low. So once people who know are talking about 10,000, between 5 and 10,000 a day.
Yeah, my doctor said 5,000.
Yeah. So your doctor said 5,000. Okay.
I was on 5,000 and they cut me back to 1,000.
Okay. Because I'm sure that your numbers went up to 100.
Don't clean up.
They probably were afraid because they say the optimal is like 40 to 60, but now the people that are, the initial numbers, they thought it was because it was just for the bone. They just thought vitamin D was for the bones and that was it. But now we know that the vitamin D is important for the immune system, it's important for the cardiovascular system, it's important for the brain. And for you to have the best, for your brain to function at best, you need to have high levels of vitamin D, which is like,
What happens if vitamin D is too high?
that's a really good question. So for a few people it may be too high, and one of the things that they notice is headaches, because what vitamin D is, it raises calcium levels in the blood. Nobody has died from an overdose of vitamin D, by the way. It may raise calcium levels, and some people may have headaches, and so it asks you to take a step back, and within a month or two, it dissipates. Certainly during winter, it dissipates. Just remember, you are not making vitamin D during winter. So it's the vitamin D you had stored up in your body during spring, summer, and fall that your body is going to be using. And if you are in a deficit going into winter, that's why we have so much flu and so many illnesses during winter, because our vitamin D levels are low. All right, we're going to have to step up a little bit more.
One question.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, he answered it.
Okay.
When
Okay.
he says it's stored it up, because I wanted to know if our body retained vitamin D.
Yes.
So what I recommend to my patients as well is that, so there's something called vitamin K2 as well. So what vitamin D does is that it raises the blood levels of calcium. What vitamin K2 does is that it takes that calcium and drives it into the bones and the teeth. So it brings the calcium levels down. So for those who are concerned about calcium levels, again, you can talk to your doctor about this, but K2 is also a natural vitamin that your body makes, but it also comes in supplement form. And I personally take one that combines the two of them, so it can ensure that my bones and my teeth are okay.
I have no problem with vitamin because I can't take it because I take Coumadin.
Aha. Yes. Yes. So again, that's why you need to talk to your doctor about it as well. However, having said that, it's K1 that is an anti-blood clotting factor. Or it's a clotting factor. K2 is not, but there's evidence that the body can convert K2 to K1. So it's better you stay away from K2 altogether.
I do because I'm highly sensitive.
But
Highly sensitive. I can't even eat one stalk of broccoli.
oh wow, what happens when that
It
happens?
drops the Coumadin like it's never even been in my system.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so stay away from it, but don't stay away from vitamin D.
One quick question before you move on.
Yes, ma'am.
Sundown syndrome.
Yes.
Is that related to not having enough vitamin D in your body, and especially like in the wintertime when there's not enough sun, and is it related to Alzheimer's?
Well, sundowning is a problem of Alzheimer's
Okay.
disease.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what sundowning is, right?
Yes.
Everybody? Okay. So sundowning is a problem around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, evening time when the sun is setting. That's why it's called sundowning. There's a lot of agitation, nervousness, activity in the individual. And sometimes it can be very aggressive. And there's all kinds of crazy, all kinds of problems happen around that time. And it can be a big problem for caregivers.
They try to want them to go sleep around that time.
I'm sorry?
If you're a caregiver, you try to make the person take a nap around that time.
Yes.
So that,
Other caregivers try to give them an activity to distract them. So when they know it's about 4 o'clock, they tend to give them things, maybe ask them to fold clothes or wash clothes or go for a walk to distract them from that time.
Yes.
But some people, it's like, that very minute, like you wake up at 2 o'clock, some people, they begin to act up around that time. So some of the activities that can be done. So yes, to answer your question, I believe, because vitamin D helps with sleep as well. So, if I were king for a day, I would just mandate everybody all black people take vitamin D. I would just really say that, because it is so crucial to brain health. And it's to be regretted that doctors and healthcare professionals are not bringing it up. It's not as big a problem in the white community. It's a much bigger problem in the black community. Yes, sir.
What side effects does vitamin D have?
Other than the one I mentioned, maybe a headache from high levels of calcium, maybe. And most people don't have that. There have been no other complaints about it. Yeah.
Most everything has side effects.
We get everything, don't we?
Lucky us, right?
yeah. Move on.
All right. So think about the activities. The main thing I want you to take away from this: get up and move when you eat. Get up and move when you eat. It will help. You don't want your blood sugars rising too much because blood sugar damages your brain. It damages brain cells, especially the part of the brain that has to do with memory. Okay. So do fun things. Have interactions. If you're in a part of a gym class, hang out. Do a lot of great things. All right, so let's talk about eating healthy. Everybody knows what you should eat and what not to eat, right?
Yes.
So somebody threw out some good things. Some good things to be eating.
Green vegetables.
Green vegetables, leafy vegetables. Yes, ma'am. Anybody else?
Without ham hocks in them.
What?
And not overly cooked.
Not overly cooked.
I said without ham hocks and not overly cooked.
That's right.
Big feet.
No pig feet. Ooh. Oh, no. Don't do it. Don't do that to us.
Basically, eat a rainbow.
Rainbow.
Eat a rainbow.
Eat the rainbow, colorful vegetables, yes.
Yes,
Just
what
consider
about
that.
beets?
Beets.
Beets are good for you.
It's good for your
You
blood.
don't want to totally deprive yourself of things you like. So on special occasions, the holidays, you can have those dishes with the ham hot. You know, not every day, you don't want it every day. So don't. Anytime we deprive ourselves,
We
it's like
overdo
that
it.
urge.
Yeah.
Right.
Overdo it.
Right, so when you plan it, that's my point, when you plan it for the holidays.
Yeah, it's
That
fine.
helps.
Yeah, 'cause in my case, I can't eat leafy greens or eat dark greens, period. So the only time I eat it is around the holidays.
Around holidays, so.
Yeah.
Because I can't eat it no other time.
Right, just portion control. Exactly, portion control and then just plan it. Not every day, not throughout the month, holidays.
Yes. Thank you so much, Colin.
No chitlins.
What?
Chitlins.
What's that?
You don't want to know. You don't want to know.
It is the intestine of the pig.
Of the
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, no.
I went to South Carolina with a group of friends. They came from there. That was about 2 years ago. I've never seen it before. They had a good outside cooking,
Yeah.
and they had all these greens in a big pot.
yes.
And people were taking, and I lined up. And when I got there, it's a whole head of a pig sitting in that. I was like, oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
And they ate it all.
Oh yeah, I mean, have you heard of Isiru? So goat head is a delicacy in Nigeria.
Yes, yeah.
So I don't know what you're being so squeamish about.
But at least we cut it up a little bit, not just the whole thing.
Yeah, well, I guess so. So the two things I want you to take away: you move around as much as you possibly can, especially after eating. Number two, whatever you put in your food, whatever you eat, you've got to take fiber. You've got to have something that has fiber in it. I know that I can't eat fruits and vegetables. They say 9 servings of fruits and vegetables every blessed day. Well, how many people can actually do that? You can? Good for you. That's impressive. You must have a very organized
I
life.
love fruit, I don't eat candy, so I eat a lot of fruit,
A lot of fruit?
Yeah.
Good. So you take and veggies as well?
very much.
So fiber is probably the most important thing you can put in your body. And the funny thing is that fiber doesn't really feed you that much. It feeds the good bacteria in your guts. And then your good bacteria digest it and feeds your brain and helps your brain. It also helps with digestion as well. It's helping you become more regular if you have enough fiber. So what I do, and this is what I do personally, I had to look for fiber, the right kind of fiber. I went to Whole Foods, I found one. And it's basically made of flakes and all that. So I just put that in water or another drink and I drink it. That way I get my quota, at least half of my quota of fiber a day. But you've got to pay attention to fiber. Fiber is probably the most important thing you can put in your body because it helps all these other things that you're doing. It helps minimize the impact of it on your body.
What you take on Metamucil?
Dry prunes for a snack, mix them up with a little bit of nuts in the bag.
Yeah, that's good too. Those have a lot of sugar too, so you want to check out the sugar. That's really sweet.
Raisins are
The
sweet.
ones I get are unsweetened.
Okay, good. So you can get the unsweetened ones, then that's good as well. Alrighty, let's get to one more question. Yes, ma'am.
And when you're taking fiber, you have to have a lot of liquid with it, because if not, one time I was doing a lot of fiber,
Yeah.
and it wasn't working, and when I went to the doctors, it was all built up.
Oh,
because
no.
I wasn't drinking
Enough.
enough liquid.
That's a really good
with my
point.
fiber.
You know, I've seen this more, thank you for pointing that out. I've seen this more with ladies than men. I think you all have a smaller digestive tracts than men do, so it's easier for you to get all plugged up. Men, maybe not as much. So I would say space it out, pace yourself. Some people, I mean, you might have to play around with the numbers a bit to get the one that works for you, but without a doubt, you've got to get fiber in your body, without a doubt. Okay, so just find out what works for you. All right, let's talk about challenging yourself. Everybody knows that, she said, use it or lose it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lose it, use it or lose it. That works for the brain as much. What happens when you challenge yourself, when you do the crossword puzzles, you learn something new, you read a book, you interact with friends, have good dialogue or debate. What happens in your brain is that your brain begins to form more and more connections between themselves. It's kind of like in a forest, the tree that goes down is a tree that doesn't have its roots spread far and wide. It's not interacting and connecting with other trees in the forest. That lonesome tree is most likely to be mowed down by a strong wind. Right? But if the tree is part of another, the tree's root system is part of another root system and several other root systems, they hold on to each other and they're strong. Make sense?
Makes sense.
The key to your brain's health, the key to intelligence, the key to memory.
I like the word search.
Roots?
I say I like the word search puzzles.
The word search puzzles, great,
Yeah.
great.
I like it.
Whatever works for you, but you've got to do something that challenges your brain, right? Because like I said, it helps your nerve cell, your neurons connect more. The problem with Alzheimer's dementia, the main problem with Alzheimer's dementia is those connections are lost.
Yes.
It's the connections that are lost. So whatever you can do to stimulate those connections forming will protect you against dementia to a certain degree. I mean, nothing's 100%, right? So we're talking about all these things, sleeping, eating, moving, and all these things. But they all help to connect better, right? In fact, there are studies that show that kids who learn how to play musical instruments, a violin, a guitar, whatever, at an early age, tend to be more protected from Alzheimer's disease at a later age. Learning foreign languages, again, connects. Some languages focus on the left side of the brain, other languages focus on the right side of the brain. So if you learn a language that has both sides of the brain, I have a friend who learned in Arabic, learned how to be a doctor. He read all the books in Arabic, so he was going from right to left. And he came to the US and had to learn how to read from left to right English. So it's like, you can see, I mean, that can do a lot of damage. That can do a lot of damage to the brain at first. But when he gets the hang of it, the brain gets stronger. What doesn't kill you, what makes you stronger, right? So I really want to encourage you to do more to challenge your brain. All right, stay connected. I think this is the one I think to speak the least about, because as Africans, people of African descent, I think it comes to us more intuitively, more naturally to connect, to be with each other. I think it's less. I mean, it used to baffle me why I was living with the same building with other people and they wouldn't know your names, they wouldn't even come welcome you and all that when I came to the US. But I think with African Americans, it's less of a problem. We're more friendly, we're more community focused, right? Am I wrong? Am I right?
What part of, you came here, when you came to the States, no one didn't welcome you here?
Yeah.
No one?
That's
well,
not surprising.
In Baltimore, I stayed Mount Vernon, Midtown Baltimore. But
That's not
everybody minds their own business.
We're friendly people.
In Baltimore?
Baltimoreans?
Well,
Yeah, I think we are.
I don't think so.
maybe I'm in the wrong part of Baltimore.
Yes. Me too. I'm in the wrong part
We
too.
have new neighbors moving, we welcome them, welcome to the neighborhood, we, give them cookies or something and welcome them in the neighborhood.
Well, are you mostly
That's okay.
black, African Americans?
Nobody
We,
get
down in
it.
the south, we welcome our people down south, down here. Baltimore, we also do here, but down in the south, we welcome you.
Yeah, down in the south, yeah, you
I
do.
think it might be saying certain areas in Baltimore.
Yes,
Yeah,
certain
yeah,
areas,
yeah.
yeah.
That's what he's trying to say, because where he is different from up here.
Especially if you got a neighborhood full of young kids.
Yeah, everybody
Young
seems to
parents.
mind to have their phone, their heads, faces in their phones or just doing their own thing, and
That's true.
that's another thing, right? I know. So, but as you grow older, it's so much more important. There's something called social frailty. Social frailty, and it's something that happens among seniors. Maybe they've lost their spouse, they may have low income, their kids are far and away, and they don't have anyone to really connect with, to talk to. So you want to reach out, you want to make them a part of the community, and because that helps to protect their brains.
Yes.
Social connection is crucial for good brain health.
Well, you know, man, that the cell phone is available to mostly everybody.
Yeah.
Can I ask you
We don't
one question?
remember anything. We used to know everybody's telephone number
Yeah.
No,
in their
man.
brain. Now, you don't do that because let me pull out my phone, you know, and then you got it.
Yeah.
So that is really deterring a lot of consummation.
Very true.
Can I ask you one question?
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Is there anybody working on an artificial brain?
Working on an artificial brain, that's a, whoa. I mean, like, well, open AI, yes.
Yeah.
AI, you know, they're working on that. And Elon Musk, that guy is just amazing. I think he's working on that as well and trying to input implants in the brain that will help upload your brain, stimulate your
I
brain.
saw that on TV.
So, I mean, there's lots of good technology going on, but I just don't see how an artificial brain will fully replace a normal, a real brain. Because we're talking about consciousness, we're talking about personality, we're talking about so many complex things that make the human being that it's just hard to see how anything artificial can replace that. And that's probably the problem too, because when you start using all this, you use Siri, you use ChatGPT, you use all this wonderful technology,
Yeah.
people don't realize that sometimes it becomes more of a crutch. And as one psychiatrist said, a neuroscientist said, it's like dementia may begin to set in, and people will not notice because they are relying so much on their phones. That the phone is taking over their brain's functions.
That's right.
And so it's not until things are really, really bad that they now realize, oh, there is a problem. So you want to be sure that you stay on top of this and be alert about your brain. And if you have a spouse too, like we said, some of the things that these pointers to brain problems, they're saying, asking the same question over and over again, right?
Yes.
Going out and forgetting,
And repeating the things.
repeating them.
You sit there and they tell you a little story, and in 2 seconds they go back and tell you the same thing.
Yeah.
But you know what's going on if you're watching them, you know.
Exactly. And here's another thing too. If you're finding it difficult to follow a conversation, if you're in a group of friends and it's like, oh man, when before you could follow and laugh along and chime in when you need to, and then all of a sudden you're like 3 minutes back behind what the person was saying, and you're not able to keep up with the conversation. That may be a sign that you're having dementia as well. Okay. Remember, personality changes, mood changes, not being able to find your way around, find the bathroom, for instance, not recognizing. I mean, it gets really bad sometimes, but that's in the more advanced cases. You don't recognize your picture, your mirror, your reflection in the mirror. That's another big problem. You walk past and you're like, who's that old person? Because in your brain, you think you're still 27. Yeah. It's a serious problem. That's why we want to avoid this as much as you possibly can. I've seen some absolutely fascinating things. What the brain does to you when it's not working like it should. So you just don't want to play around. You don't want to play around with the brain at all. Yes, ma'am.
My girlfriend swore me down that the 9th was on a Thursday, and it wasn't, right?
Yeah.
So I could see that she was getting a little dementia.
Yeah.
And she said, Pat, what's wrong with you? Girl, pull out your calendar. I didn't mean to laugh.
She was convinced that she
No,
had.
she was convinced.
She was
I
convinced.
didn't laugh.
Yeah.
But she said, what's wrong with your brain? Pull out your calendar. Pull out your calendar to prove that she was right and I was wrong. I ain't say one word.
You didn't pull out the calendar.
I ain't say nothing.
Yes, problem.
Pull out your calendar.
So volunteer for a cause that's important to you. I mean, you guys have so much wisdom. You've got so much experience. Part of, I believe, is your obligation, your duty, if I may use a word as strong as that, is to give back to us, the generation coming up behind you. You need to find ways to give back, to give your wisdom, give your advice, your counsel. We definitely need it. This world is getting crazier and crazier, as
Yes,
you know.
it is.
Yes, it is.
So look for ways to volunteer. And volunteering again, just being unselfish, giving out does wonders for your brain. Okay? Any
Are you
questions?
gonna be practicing here in Maryland?
Am I going to
Or
be
you going
practicing?
back to Ghana? Or
Nigeria. Well, I'm seeing my patients from here. That's the wonderful thing about technology.
So I gotta go all the way to
Nigeria. Yeah, you got to go all the way to Nigeria. then book an appointment with me. Just kidding. Just kidding. All right. So these are the helplines. You guys need to memorize this number. It's very easy to memorize. So that way you can share with your friends and family. Okay.
Put it down too fast, put it back.
What?
It's
Sorry.
actually on the bottom of your paper.
Yeah. It's on the bottom of the paper.
1-800-272-3900.
Oh,
It's on the bottom.
Oh, yeah, down here, okay, all right,
Any questions?
okay.
Okay, I just want to thank Dr. David Ajibade for presenting this fabulous Healthy Living for the Brain and Body. And we truly appreciate the questions that were asked, the interaction. If you ever have any questions, let me ask this question about anything dealing with memory. Anything. Who will you call?
Ghostbusters? No, I'm just kidding.
Call Jesus.
Who will you call?
That's her.
The Alzheimer's Association.
The Alzheimer's
Association.
Association.
Yeah.
That's the number right
You can
there.
call that is a national 24/7 helpline.
Oh, they got a helpline.
That is the number on the bottom of that paper.
Person you can ask.
Yes, you can ask any type of questions. You can request any type of materials, brochures. We will postal mail them to you. We will email them to you. You can have all of our programs and services are free. It's just like now, this program here, we have more national programs. We have one education program that's called Knowing the 10 Warning Signs. So there are a lot of education programs that we have. So again, if you have any questions, sundown, anything, when you call that 24/7 helpline number, they will give you possible suggestions as to what to do with your loved one. Maybe you gotta think about the environment that they're in. You know, maybe you have to pull the shades down at a certain time. So it's a lot of things, a lot of conversations that can take place. But all you need to do is reach out to us at our 24/7 helpline number. So again, we definitely appreciate the questions, and hopefully we can come back.
Not a
Come
problem.
back.
Not a problem.
So thank you so much, Dr. David.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. You
I'd
guys,
just like to say one thing.
yes, ma'am.
I called one time because there was a lady that used to live next door to me, and her children had put her in a senior building, but she did not like. And she was having a problem, and I called the Alzheimer's Association, and they gave me some suggestions for talking to her and trying to get her to appreciate where she was, even though she was stressed out and unhappy about it. So I kept in touch with her, so I tried to call her. Then my girlfriend, so she somehow connected with the city, where she calls people every day to make sure they're all right, and if there's anything they can do for her. So that's connected with the Alzheimer's
That
Association too.
program is under the Department of Aging.
Yeah.
They do a robocall.
Right, yeah.
Once the caregiver registers them, so that they can make sure that their loved ones are okay, that they answer. If they don't answer, they'll do a live call
Call, right.
to ensure that they're okay. So there are a lot of programs out here. It's not just the Alzheimer's Association. When you're talking about anything, we can refer you to the Baltimore City Health Department.
Is that Matt?
It's not just the association. We want to give you the resources that you need at that specific time. So you can call as often as you want. Every single thing is free. Everything.
That's fantastic. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
So again, thank you.